So, you think you know how to read a book, huh? Of course you do. You're watching a BookTube channel. Of course you know how to read, right? Or do you? Welcome to my channel, In Search of Wonder. My name is Anne, and I like to think that I know how to read, but at the same time, I'm not so sure. Years ago, I'm talking a couple decades here, when I was a young adult, I worked as a preschool and kindergarten teacher. And in that role, I taught many young children how to read. It's actually one of my passions. It's something that gets me very excited, the whole idea of teaching children to read. Nowadays, I teach children how to read music, which is its own separate passion, but has similar roots, I think, opens doors of understanding and imagination and opportunity. Back then, I was teaching children the rudiments of literacy, what the letters say, how to blend them together, how to detach them from one another, the many variations of English sound spelling relationships that exist, trying to give them a system whereby to easily untangle all of those interrelated sounds and their varied spellings. It was the joy of my life to see young children reach that moment when everything clicked into place and they realized that not only could they read the words in their little reader that they had, but they could pick up a book from the shelf, open it up, and start reading it. Every year, I saw children reach at that point, that milestone where everything clicked and they could just literally read whatever they wanted to. That was the highlight of my life at the time. So yes, I love teaching people how to read, but that's just literacy. That's level 1. Reading goes way beyond that. Once you learn how to read the words, the actual words, comprehension is a whole other level, as elementary teachers can testify. Being able to summarize what you're reading is yet another level that's a little bit higher up. But truly being able to grasp what an author is trying to say, that's something different altogether. And honestly, I think it can take a lifetime of learning and living and reading to be able to have that skill. And I think every time you read a really well-written book, every time you read it, you can uncover new layers of understanding. There can be more to the book than there was the first time you read it, or the second or the third time, if it's a really good book. But if you are like me, there are those times when you pick up a book and you're reading it and you know it's a classic, or you know it's a book a lot of other people love, but you're reading it and you're like, why? What do other people see in this book? I don't get it. Like, these characters are awful. This story is going nowhere, or it's just going down the toilet. What is happening here? What do other people see in this book that I don't see? Why does everybody love this? Why does everybody say this is an amazing book? Let's take The Great Gatsby, for example. When I first read that book, I hated it. I thought it was stupid, in a word. It had a terrible ending. All of the characters were terrible. And when I got to the end, I thought to myself, why? Why did I waste my time on this terrible book? Now, I was young. I was an older teenager, almost a fully grown adult. And I just one, had not had enough life experience, I don't think, to really appreciate it. Two, I was reading it on my own independently, and at that point in time, I didn't really know how to read. I had read a lot of classics already up until that point, but I had just consumed them as wonderful books. Some of the themes and some of the ideas managed to sink in, especially if they were obvious, but I was just reading for pleasure, for fun, and I didn't really grasp a lot of what I was reading. So anytime I encountered something like The Great Gatsby that was a little more, I don't know what the word is, maybe inscrutable, I stumbled over it and I hated it. So fast forward a couple decades, and I decided it was time to reread The Great Gatsby again. But this time, I enlisted some help. I listened to a podcast where the hosts were discussing books. This was the Close Reads podcast, and they were discussing books, mostly classic literature, but some other books, some were more contemporary works. And they read through a few chapters, a selection at a time, and would discuss it at length. And I got so much out of it that time. I was also better capable by that point, 2 decades into my reading life, my adult reading life. I was better able to understand what the book was saying on my own. I caught a lot more than I did the first time around, and I appreciated it a lot more than I did the first time around. But having those people help me out and give me their insights was incredible. And I don't think I will ever outgrow that need to read in community with other people, to get the insight from someone else. We don't live in an island, right? And we all can't see everything. We benefit greatly by the perspective of other people. One reason I love BookTube, because getting other people's perspective on the different books that I read is just, and it enhances the reading experience for me. But what does all of that have to do with learning how to read? I want to take my reading to the next level, where I can see what the author is really trying to say in a book, where I can catch the different metaphors or the different themes, where I can just see what the author is trying to do, hopefully. I am better able to do this now than I was 2 decades ago. I'm learning every day and I'm growing, but I'm ready for the next level. I started reading this book, How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler, probably 10 years ago or so, but at that time I wasn't really ready for it. I found it too dry and uninteresting, frankly. So I gave up after the first chapter, and I have always wanted since then to pick it back up and see what I can get from it, because I have this feeling that there is some very helpful information in this book that will give me the tools that I need to really be able to read a book well, with or without help. Like I said, I don't think I'll ever get to a place where I will want to completely read without the benefit of another person's perspective, especially someone who is further along in their reading journey than I am. But at the same time, I would like to have the tools myself that I can read a book and then maybe help other people to understand what the value is in a particular book. So, this is my summer school project, How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler. Every summer, I challenge myself to expand my knowledge or understanding, usually in professional development in terms of music education or music itself. I hope to still do something along those lines this summer. I kind of failed last summer in all respects of that, but I'm going to try again this summer. One of my goals. And I want to read this book. And I want to apply what I learn in this book to my reading. So to that end, I am putting myself through a little summer school, and I am inviting you to join me if you want. And how it's going to work is this. In the month of June, I'm going to read this book, How to Read a Book, and I've made myself a schedule. There are 4 parts, and there are 4 full weeks in June. The first week ends on June 6th. Okay, technically it's only 6 days, but it's fine. It's almost 7. We're going to go with it, okay? So the first Saturday is June 6th. I would like to read part 1 by that Saturday. And then by June 13th, I will have read part 2. By June 20th, I will have read part 3. By June 27th, I will have read part 4 and completed the book. That's the plan. That's the goal. If you would like to join me, you are welcome. I would love to be discussing this book with you along the way. If you also would like to learn to read better, I will put some links in the description box where you can find copies of this book if you don't have one yourself, and where you can find it. I'm sure you can also find it in your library if you probably even a digital copy. I think that before I came across this physical copy, I had found it on Hoopla at my library. So I'm sure your library probably has a copy of it. If not, I don't think it's super expensive, but I will put links to where you can find it in the description box. And we will read this book together and learn how to read together and go to the next level in our ability to read and understand books. I invite you to join me. I think it would be a lot of fun. I think I will get a lot more out of it if I have people to discuss this with. So I really hope that some of you are interested enough in this concept to join me and to read this book with me and to chat about it. If you are interested in joining, the conversation is going to happen primarily on my Discord server. So I have set up a channel there on my Discord server just for the discussion of this book through the month of June. I'm also hoping, again, on my Discord server to have some weekly live chats in there in the Discord server as well. Very low key, very low pressure, just conversational, chatting about the book. And that's my goal. That's my plan. If y'all are interested and want to join me, let me know, and join my Discord server if you're not there already, and let me know if you're going to get this book and jump in and join in the conversation. Then secondarily, what I'm going to do, that's the month of June. In the month of July, I am going to take what I have learned in this book and I'm going to specifically apply it to a classic. I haven't decided which one. And my idea is that anybody who's joining with me in this summer school project can choose their own book that they want to read, that they want to apply this to. It may be a book that you come across while you're reading this one, that you think of, that this book makes you think of, that you've been wanting to read. It may be a book that you are a little bit daunted by because either its length or its subject matter or its writing style or whatever it might be. It's a book you kind of want to read, but you never have because reasons. Tackle that book with the help of this one. Maybe, or maybe you want to reread a book with fresh eyes and with fresh insight and fresh understanding, and you can apply what you learn in this book to that one. That will be the month of July. And again, the conversation will happen in my Discord, and everybody can read their own book, whatever they want to choose. And I feel like we can all be sharing with each other the things that we're learning and the things that we see and the things that we discover as we're reading our individual books and sharing our thoughts on them in my Discord server. So that is my plan. That is my little summer school idea that I am going to pursue this year. So I am really looking forward to reading How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler. I'm really looking forward to learning how to read better than I already do. I am looking forward to growing in that area of my life, and I hope that you are interested in joining me. Let me know in the comments if you want to join in with reading this book. Join me on my Discord server, and I will see you there.